This is From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Each week, Janice shares her wisdom to enlighten, educate, and advance the culture in America today. Janice Pons is a mother, author, and free thinker, and your host for our podcast this evening. Now let's join your host, Janice Pons.
Greetings, 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 greetings. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Janice Pons. I am the host on our podcast, From Destruction to Dignity, Clinical Perspectives, Spiritual Truths. Welcome. I am so glad you're here. Thank you for joining in. My amazing audience on social media, all around the world, those of you who are downloading the podcast, I want to say thank you. We are going to continue our amazing journey that we have been on together. And we have a flag behind us, which represents our 50 states here in America. We have a presidential seal here to remind us of the importance of praying for the executive branch of our government, our president and his cabinet. Of course, we want to cover the legislative branch and the judiciary branch as well. We want to pray for America. So we're going to continue to pray for those 265,900,000 working Americans who were living paycheck to paycheck last year in 2024. Gosh, we're coming up on the end of 2025. Time is going by fast and there's a lot going on. So we're going to look. The reason why I just kind of got like some insight, kind of a revelation. A lot of people don't understand dynamics and the specific flows of why things go the way they do. They just think it's a willy-nilly kind of thing. But I think by examining some principles, we're able to see some things together and people are understanding how our nation works. So we're going to continue to dissect these things because people are getting understanding that based upon comments and feedback. And thank you for the comments that you leave during this episode, during the podcast. I love it. So 79% of Americans said we were going in the wrong direction. We're going in a totally different direction. We love it. Some don't, but we're going anyway. I've repeatedly said who needs to be the leader, who needs to be in charge of America. We know that there has been a change in the White House. There's been a lot of changes in the legislative branch of our government. And, excuse me, we have our judiciary branch as well, where there are a lot of challenges and a lot of the challenges that our executive branch, our president, is dealing with. He is gaining a lot of victories at the judiciary branch because that's where we've got rogue judges. So tonight, we're going to examine something that's generated a lot of discussion in our nation, and it deals directly with rogue leaders, rogue judges, rogue leaders. And our clinical perspective is the power of accountability because it ties directly into these rogue presentations that we are presented with. So I'm always saying we're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. Come and go with me. Our Department of Justice, DOJ, has slapped the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, and the Los Angeles City Council with a long overdue lawsuit. It has been stated that their antics ends under President Donald Trump. The lawsuit, we're talking about rogue leaders. Now, just stick with me. I frame things. I'm going somewhere with this, and we have to frame it because we have to get understanding. And that's one thing that's been lacking. We've been driven by a lot of emotions and emotionalism, and all based around sometimes lies and deception. So facts are important. So the lawsuit filed against Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, and the city council in Los Angeles, people saying it's long overdue. It stresses the legality of LA's sanctuary city policies and a Bass signed ordinances violation of the Constitution's supremacy clause. Now, where President Trump is getting a lot of his victories is based and grounded in our Constitution, which is the law of the land. The law of the land. So LA's Mayor Karen Bass has previously stated, while radicals were savagely attacking U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agencies in her city, she said, "We will not stand for this." Now, here's the realistic dynamic. The Democratic mayor was not condemning her fellow leftist attacks on federal agents. We saw the rocks being thrown down on police cars and bum rushing them. We saw all what was going on there. She was not condemning the fellow leftist attacks on federal agencies, but rather the agents' enforcement of, you ready? Federal immigration laws. Guys, laws were just thrown by the side. Under the previous, 12 of the last 16 years, laws were just ignored. And then from 2021 up to 2024, they were just obliterated. It was like we were just running willy-nilly. Laws were just being ignored, and so we got total chaos. So, in the wake of the Los Angeles riots, Bass had kept up her anti-ICE, pro-illegal alien rhetoric, saying every community in Los Angeles is feeling the shock of these horrific ICE raids. Okay, like ICE was breaking the law. She said, this isn't just targeting one group, it's striking at the heart of our collective safety and trust. Now, ICE is there to make sure that we are safe, to get illegal immigrants out, and the first thrust was with those who were criminals. So the Trump administration gave Bass more than just ICE raids to complain about. Okay, the administration has filed a lawsuit against the mayor, the city council, and the city of Los Angeles over their alleged interference with the federal government's enforcement of law. These, there are cities all over the nation, and they're the ones, just facts, that have been run by liberal left Democratic mayors that are bucking the hardest, like Mayor Johnson in Chicago, Karen Bass in Los Angeles. It's just happening all over. This is the pattern. It's an undeniable pattern. I'm thinking out loud here. I'm not making this stuff up. And I love all of my fellow. I love them. But we have laws, and we have them for a reason, but they have been ignored. According to Attorney General Pam Bondi, sanctuary policies were the driving cause of the violence, the chaos and attacks on law enforcement that Americans witness in Los Angeles. Jurisdictions like Los Angeles that they flout federal law by prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens. They were undermining law enforcement at every level. Guys, that's just the reality of what we have been presented with. The illegal immigrants and aliens got priority over American citizens. And President Trump's position is this: it ends with him. It ends with him. The two issues that were the number one, the two issues that were the driving force for the presidential election in 2024 was illegal immigration and the economy. It just was. The complaint filed in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California notes that immediately after President Trump's re-election, the Los Angeles City Council, wishing to thwart the will of the American people regarding deportations, we voted for this, began the process of codifying into law its sanctuary city policies. So what happened? In late November 2024, boy, Biden got on steroids signing things. We'll get back to the auto pen. That's another podcast. We'll deal with that. So in late November 2024, the LA City Council unanimously voted to establish LA as a sanctuary city. The mere facts that a sanctuary city involves restricting detentions by how? Prohibiting local police from holding individuals for federal immigration authorities. This is the dynamic of what goes on with sanctuary cities. Also, they limit information sharing. Just think about that. You can have criminal activity going on with criminals perpetrating these acts, but sanctuary cities say, well, you know, we're going to limit information sharing. Imagine that. How do they do it? By refusing to share information about immigrants' immigration status with federal agencies. That says a lot, guys. All this is a setup. It's a setup from the word go. It invites so much that could go wrong in terms of crime and criminals. It emboldens, it enables, it just gives people a free pass. And that's just what we were doing in America. Oh, yeah. So Karen Bass ratified the corresponding ordinance entitled Prohibition of the Use of City Resources for Federal Immigration Enforcement. Guys, think about that. Just let that sink in for a moment. Which enshrined sanctuary policies into municipal law, and it also barred the use of city resources, including property and personnel, from being utilized for immigration enforcement or to cooperate with federal immigration agents engaged in immigration enforcement. That's asinine. So in other words, we're going to let them do what they want to do. We're not going to collaborate with our federal government. We're going to do our own thing over here. And those cities, there has been a documented data that shows they've got a lot more crime going on. So, they don't even work collaboratively with those that are trying to keep us safe, i.e. ICE. The lawsuit holds the city of Los Angeles accountable for deliberately obstructing the enforcement of federal immigration law. That's the bottom line. The ordinance, it's called the urgency clause, which makes clear that undermining the incoming federal administration was the goal, also prohibits city officials, including law enforcement officers, our police officers, guys, from directly or indirectly sharing data with federal immigration authorities. That's just a defiance of authority. It reeks of the defiance of authority. The Department of Justice's lawsuit states that LA's sanctuary city laws are illegal and are designed to, and in fact do, interfere with and discriminate against the federal government's enforcement of federal immigration law in violation of the Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution. Guys, they've been totally ignoring our Constitution, and heretofore they had not been held accountable. They've been legislating from benches with liberal judges, and they've been violating the Constitution under the Obama, Biden, Harris cabal. True story. Now, as evidenced by what we're going through right now, what I'm talking about right now, just looking at it from a constitutional perspective and laying out facts and encouraging us to use basic logic and deductive reasoning to come to a sound conclusion, guys. This is why our nation was spiraling out of control. They brought these people in. And I do need to clarify something I've been saying regarding the parole. These people were brought in under... Okay, let me say this first. Let me frame this. Just bringing people in across the border, the millions, they came in and we were paying for their housing, their food, their health care, their education. and free money card. Those were the ones coming across the border. Something I need to clarify that I've been saying. I want to just clarify, just because what I'm getting ready to say, it had even been obliterated and violated, and kind of anything went. But when they were paroling people out of Nicaragua, Venezuela, Haiti, and Cuba, that was under what used to be they said was humanitarian. We're just letting them come in, and if they have a they can come on in. If they have a sponsor, we'll let them in. Well, the timelines that were in place to bring order and structure to how that was supposed to work, it was totally ignored, overlooked. Violations were happening left and right. You had people that were coming in. Who paroles people out of prison? Do we parole our own people out of prison? Do we? Lord have mercy. That speaks for itself. So let's see. In Fayetteville, that's where that guy, he was staying. They said, oh, he's got a sponsor. Well, he took their lives. He took their lives. Go look it up. Can't think of that man's name, but it was in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Two beautiful, the family, the grandma, the two girls. I think one was 11 or 12, and the other one was about 6 or 7. Absolutely gorgeous in Fayetteville, North Carolina. But these types of dynamics of law breaking was just rampant all over the nation. Oh, and the whole goal of all of them coming in was to make them voters, to make them legal. We're just going to usher them in, and we'll just sign them on in, and they'll be voters for the Democratic Party. Why? To keep them in power so they could continue with their gravy train and their NGOs, non-governmental organizations, where they were getting over on us like a fat rat with all kind of perks and hiring relatives and buying cars and homes. And as 78% of Americans were living paycheck to paycheck, barely making ends meet, and they were taking that money out of our paycheck and they were feeding their money laundering schemes. That's what has been going on. And so we've been like their slaves, so they were just bringing in more. And then with the ones that were coming in illegally, they had a whole operation going on, like shutting down that Hyundai plant in Georgia. Why did he do that? They were there illegally. And there are all kind of illegal activities that were going on related to that, including trafficking, human trafficking. Guys, it's a mess. And everything was a front. It was a front on how they were doing this stuff with us. So from the parole programs, which were abused, it was another front. Well, all of a sudden, why did they bring in millions of people on a parole program? Millions of people across the border. 3 consecutive months, illegal immigrants crossing our border was at 0. I need to look up an update on that, but I know for 3 consecutive months it was 0. That's amazing. The problem has been solved. Thank you, Donald Trump. Lawyers for the government asked the district court to recognize that the ordinance's violation of the Supremacy Clause and 8 U.S. Code 1373 makes it unlawful, unenforceable, and void, as well as to enter a permanent injunction barring Los Angeles, its city council, and the mayor from enforcing the ordinance. In other words, you got to challenge these people, guys. You got to challenge them. That's what they do with President Trump. They're just taking him to court. Then it goes to the Supreme Court, and he wins. Why? Because they have what they sue him over is a violation of the Constitution, and he's going to win because what he's doing is constitutional. Bottom line. The lawsuit against them, Los Angeles, holds the city of LA accountable for deliberately obstructing the enforcement of federal immigration law. This is what the U.S. attorney for the Central District of California has stressed in a tweet that he made. He just said the lawsuit was long overdue. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. Imagine that. Remember when President Trump went in with ICE and National Guard related to Washington? We went almost 2 weeks with no lives being taken. And the citizens of Washington, D.C. were thrilled about what was occurring. Oh, yes, they were. So Chicago, we're going to see how that turns out. That's a lot. This thing is going to keep going because constitutionally, our president can make these decisions. The United States Constitution Supremacy Clause prohibits the city from picking and choosing which federal laws will be enforced and which will not, guys. By assisting removal of aliens, illegal immigrants, in invading federal law enforcement, coming against our law enforcement, the city's unlawful and discriminatory ordinance has contributed to a lawless and unsafe environment that this lawsuit will help end. And this is where we're winning, where President Trump is winning the victory. And they're showing their open hand. You know where they're going to come from. And they got it all lined up. President Trump and his team got the response all lined up. So, radical Los Angeles city officials are contemplating striking back at the Trump administration with a lawsuit of his own. Imagine that. Would you be surprised? The DOJ's lawsuit appears to be a major step toward another promise kept on President Trump's part. At a gathering to commemorate the anniversary of the Army at Fort Bragg, President Trump said, within the span of a few decades, Los Angeles has gone from being one of the cleanest, safest, and most beautiful cities on earth to being a trash heap with entire neighborhoods under the control of transnational gangs and criminal networks. That's the truth. I went to LA in 1984. It was beautiful. We know what it looks like now. People defecating on the sidewalks, tents set up. It's just a mess. And this is going on all over our country. So they don't like it when I say it. But I'll say it loudly and clearly, they better do something before it's too late. This is what the president is saying. So very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. That was the words of Donald Trump, President Trump. He said, we will use every asset at our disposal to quell the violence, to stop it and restore law and order right away. There are people in Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, they're begging for help. The local leaders don't want to do it. In Pritzker in Illinois, they say, there's no problem. See, that's gaslighting. They're flat out lying. Johnson, that Mayor Johnson, there's no problem. See, if President Trump comes in there and brings law and order and accelerates a process of people finally paying attention and doing something about it, it's like, oh, the president looks good. Oh, but people get help. People are safer. People are not losing their lives. Imagine that. My fellow Americans, we have been so out of order and in so much dysfunction and chaos as a nation that what the president has been doing that is constitutional seems radically crazy. Actually, he's upholding the law and enforcing it. That's exactly what the executive branch of the government is supposed to do. They're supposed to enforce the law. The legislative makes the law. The judiciary interprets the law. President Trump has been doing his job. He's not some goofball, dumbball, fool. The man knows what he's doing. Guys, order is in the house. So all this leads to our clinical perspective tonight. Accountability and the law. Accountability. Oh, yeah. Accountability for breaking the law means that individuals and entities are held responsible for their actions that violate legal statutes. This can involve facing consequences like fines, imprisonment, or other penalties as determined by something that's already set up, a legal system. It ensures that laws are enforced and that individuals are not above the law. Now, when I say that, I know how people think, well, Trump thought he was above the law. He's a convicted felon, honey. It was orchestrated lawfare. Orchestrated lawfare. I'm going to go back and dissect that thing. Yes, I will. I'll get to that. I will never run out of content. And we need to, I go through these political and dynamics of our nation so we can understand, because it's right in front of our faces, front and center. We need to understand. A lot of people don't understand. They just run on emotions, and they've been manipulated and lied to. We're going to go there on here, and then we'll deal with clinical perspectives and spiritual truths as well. From destruction to dignity. Clinical perspective, spiritual truths. That's what this is. Key aspects of accountability for breaking the law. Can you imagine there are key aspects of that? What about holding individuals responsible? What would happen if we held individuals responsible? Accountability ensures that those who break the law are held responsible for their actions. Then there's consequences for violations. This can include legal penalties like fines, imprisonment, or other sanctions. What about upholding the rule of law? Accountability is a cornerstone of the rule of law, ensuring that everyone is subject to the same laws. Accountability sets the stage for promoting fairness and justice. Accountability mechanisms aim to ensure that justice is served and that the legal system is fair and impartial. Then there's something called restoring public trust. Do you think that the public trust was obliterated? Was it? Accountability can help restore public trust in institutions by demonstrating that the law is applied consistently and fairly. And I heard people say, there haven't been any arrests. There haven't been any arrests. Yes, it has. We did a podcast about, based upon what DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, what they found. And yes, there have been arrests. And yes, there have been arrests in Louisiana, in New York. Yes, it has, and more going to come. I think we're going to have an avalanche coming here soon. It takes time. A lot of people, guys, sometimes you just don't understand systemic operations, investigations. You don't move ramrod. You have to make sure you got all your T's crossed and I's dotted, and it takes time. I've been involved in systemic operations, policies, procedures, laws, statutes. You have to make sure it's done right. Then there is preventing future violations. We're talking about law. We're talking about accountability. By holding individuals accountable, it can deter future violations of the law and promote a safer society. What are some examples of accountability? What does that look like? Accountability. Well, people say, well, they're not going to do anything to them anyway. They don't care anything about it. Criminal prosecution. That's a form of accountability. Individuals who commit crimes can be arrested, tried, and punished according to the law. That's a form of accountability. Oh, yeah. And it takes time. Investigations take time. Sometimes it takes years. I have a feeling that as President Trump gets closer to the end of his term, we're going to see a lot going on closer to it. Civil lawsuits. Individuals or organizations can be held liable for damages caused by their illegal actions in civil court. We're talking about forms of accountability. That takes time. What about administrative sanctions? That includes things like government agencies imposing fines, suspensions, or other penalties for violations of regulations. Then there's the importance of accountability. When people know there's going to be some accountability, which we had none for 12 of the past 16 years, and definitely the last previous 4 years, deterrence lets people know that there will be consequences for breaking the law, and it can discourage others from engaging in illegal activities. What about fairness and justice? Accountability mechanisms, they ensure that those who break the law are treated fairly and that justice is served. And then there is the aspect of public safety, guys. Gosh, if President Trump doesn't get credit for anything, that man has really worked hard to make us safer. Illegal border crossing being at 0 for 3 months in a row, my God, that speaks for itself. By holding individuals accountable, it can help create a safer and more secure society for everyone. What about restoration and healing? Where does that fit in? In some cases, accountability can involve restorative justice processes that help victims and offenders to heal and reconcile. Guys, what have we looked at tonight? Rogue leaders. We have been whooped by them. They have been running roughshod over this country. And our clinical perspective was exploring the dynamics of the power of accountability. Guys, we're going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there. We're going to keep going in. We're going to keep looking at these issues because we are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Guys, when we address these rogue leaders and we have accountability, people feel safer. Things are predictable. Our children can learn so much from this. We've been so out of control that we didn't know our head from our tail and was like, well, what's going on today? And, you know, some things may escalate before they get better. But I tell you what, we have people that are paying attention now. Guys, keep coming back. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to keep you posted about the Patreon process. I'm solidifying something. It's a lot involved in that. So that's a new path for me. You all asked me to do that, to come up with exclusive content. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So I appreciate the encouragement. I'm going to do it, solidifying it. I'll keep you posted. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the downloads from Finland, Australia, Singapore, Egypt, Africa, the Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. God bless you guys. I love you. You have been prayed for. Listen, our spiritual truth is greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. There's a lot of mess going on in this world, but God has a plan for America and God has a plan for me and you. And if we grab a hold to these truths of who we really are, guys, there's nothing we cannot accomplish. I'm around some powerhouses and we are going somewhere. It's expecting us when we get there, and we invite you to come and go with us. Speaking of which, I'm doing a cruise in April of 2026. You can go on my Facebook page. You can learn about that. Reach out to me personally if you want to know about that, because the payment for that has to be in by January, the end of January. So we're good. This is our third time going. Christian conservative cruises, you don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be conservative. And a lot of people go there aren't. But we just have a good time because what you're going to get there is love. Yeah. I love you guys. Listen, I will see you next week. Come and go with us on that cruise. And let's just keep going together because God is good and he's got a plan for America. And I'm all in for it. I'll see you guys next week. Good night.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of From Destruction to Dignity with Janice Pons. Janice's mission is to provoke thought, bring awareness, and point people towards intervention when needed. As a reminder, this show is not therapy, but for educational purposes only. For more information, check out JanicePons.com or follow her on social media.
We are one power, strength is ours, liberty, been set free, education, affirmation, dedication, information, revelation.